All right, let us continue with the Seder. Like we talked about yesterday, we spoke yesterday that this year there's a few changes because things that we usually could have done the day before Passover, like burning the chametz, etc., we don't do. Or the fast, the firstborn, we also don't do because this year, the day before Passover is Shabbat. Okay, so therefore, there are things that we're going to do on Thursday, which is before, and we'll talk about what those things are in just one moment. So, because this Thursday is is going to take the place of the day before Passover. So we do a lot of things on this Thursday that we do the day before Passover, even though this year the day before Passover is Shabbat. So, for instance, on Thursday in the daytime, let's go back to our picture. On Thursday in the daytime, we do the fast of the firstborn. Who are the firstborn? Anyone who's the firstborn, even your mother, the firstborn of your father, even Kohens, even ladies. The firstborn, asked the rabbi, the Chabad rabbi near you, to see if women do not fast the firstborn. Our custom is to try to make it to synagogue and hear the conclusion of a tractate of Talmud. Usually somebody makes a conclusion of the tractate of Talmud, and then it's a reason to make a meal, and this meal pushes away this very not a obligatory fast of the firstborn. Even though that we talked about last time, the fast of the firstborn is done because before the Jews left Egypt, they told the Egyptians that they were going to kill them. Also, the firstborn of the Egyptians were killed. Oh, very good. And therefore, we make Tainus Bechoros. And we were not. We were saved. So therefore, we make the fast of the firstborn. That is done on Thursday in the day. Thursday in the night, that's when we check the chametz. How do you check the chametz? We talked about this a little bit before. You're supposed to, first of all, clean your whole house. And then you take 10 pieces of bread or whatever, wrap them up in paper, something that's combustible, that burns, inflammable, not combustible, inflammable. And you scatter them around the house. Try to write down where you scattered them or somebody. Then you take a candle and a feather and a spoon, and you go around and you search in all the crevices for chametz, and you happen to find these pieces. But you're not just going around mechanically looking for the pieces, and that's not the commandment. And before you do this, you're supposed to make a blessing. That you made us holy with your commandments, and you commanded us to destroy chametz. Birikat chametz. And after you find the chametz, the 10 pieces that you find, or any other chametz that you happen to find, you put it in a bag separately, and you put the spoon and the feather, and you put out the candle, extinguish the candle, and put the candle in there also, and tie it up. And you're going to leave this for Friday in the morning. And this is all happening on Thursday night, right? Thursday night. So, okay, another thing that you, and also, once again, another thing that you do is when you finish the checking, then you make an official negation of all chametz. You disown all of the chametz that you don't know about. All the chametz that I have and I don't know about, I disown it. Technically, this disowning is sufficient. You don't have to check. You don't have to burn. You don't really even have to clean your house. All you have to do is just negate all the chametz. If you don't have any, then from the Torah, you have not transgressed. But the problem is that you have to negate your ownership on chametz. Then it's no longer yours, but you have to do it with a full heart. And not only that, there's another thing. If you leave chametz around in your house, you might come and eat some of it in the middle of Pesach. So you've only transgressed if you own a chametz, if it's yours. If you disown it before the holiday, it's no longer considered to be yours, and therefore it's okay. But maybe you didn't disown it with a complete heart, and you find a bit of bottle of beer and you think, wow, I really want that bottle of beer. So it means that you're in possession of chametz, which is a sin on Passover. It's against what God wants. So you do what's called a bittul chametz. You say, I hereby negate, and there's a whole a prepared paragraph. You say, I hereby negate all of the chametz or anything less similar to chametz that I do not know about. Let's just say do not know. What you do know about, you're going to eat. There's going to be some of it you're going to eat on the next day, which usually you don't do. But today, you have to make a meal on Shabbat, 2 meals from chametz. So that's going to be on Shabbat. So this is we're talking about now. This is Friday. This is Thursday night. Thursday night, you find all of the pieces, you put them all together, and you make what's called a bittul, a negation. You negate all the. I don't own it, disowning all of the chametz you have. Then after that, there might be some chametz that you want to keep for the whole holiday. For instance, let's say you have a couple bottles of nice scotch or something, or whatever you like to drink, or you have some cookies you're particularly in favor of, you love, and you want to keep them and eat them after the holiday. So you're disowning of them. That's okay. But let's say you really don't disown it because you really want that scotch after the holiday. So what you do is you sell it. You go to a rabbi and you write down all the places. He'll tell you what to do. You write down all the places where your chametz is, and you say, I hereby sell all of my chametz to the rabbi. You give it to the rabbi, and the rabbi sells it to a non-Jew. And the rabbi doesn't give you any money for it. Exactly the opposite. You give the rabbi money for his own sustenance and also because he's doing this favor for you. So it's called you're selling your chametz to a non-Jew. In other words, not just to make 100% sure, and especially if there's chametz that you want to get back afterwards, so you officially sell all of the chametz to a non-Jew through your rabbi. You give it to your rabbi, and your rabbi will know what to do. This is all Thursday evening. You can sell your chametz beforehand if you want. You can sell it beforehand. That's called mechirat chametz, and you must sell your chametz. In other words, in addition to disowning your chametz, you also must search for your chametz and destroy it. And in addition to this, you also must sell all of the chametz that you have to a non-Jew. Okay, that's Thursday day. It was the fast of the firstborn. Thursday evening, you make the search, you find it, you sell your chametz. Friday. On Friday is the fast of the firstborn. I'm sorry, on Friday. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Thursday, that was Thursday. Friday. We don't fast on Friday. That's the reason why. We don't fast on Fridays. On Friday, you wake up and burn the chametz. It happens to be that this Friday is also the day of the passing away of the Tzemach Tzedek, the 13th day of Nisan. It's the 13th day of the month of Nisan, is the third Rebbe of Chabad called the Tzemach Tzedek. He passed away. And we burn the chametz. You have to try to burn the chametz before 11:44. That's in the Tel Aviv area. Before 11:44, you burn your chametz. And no, it's not. Everywhere in Israel. 11:44. You have to burn your chametz before that hour. And then you say there's a whole thing about Yehi Ratzon that I'm burning up this chametz just as I hope that God will burn up all the forces of evil in the world. Then Shabbat. Before Shabbat, you should light a candle that's going to stay lit for more than 24 hours, because when Shabbat goes out, you're going to have to light the candles of Yom Tov. And you're not allowed to make a new fire on Yom Tov. So there has to be a fire that's already lit and it's burning when it comes in. Of course, on Shabbat, it's forbidden to light candles. So you have to have some sort of a long-lasting candle that will last from before Shabbat into, there's 24 hours into the Yom Tov, which is going to be Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night. And then you light the candles. We talked about this last time. You light the candles, and you make the two blessings: Asher Kishan B'Sosov Tzivanu, Ladlik Ner Shel Yom Tov, and Baruch Atah Hashem She'achianu v'Hikiyamanu v'Higianu, etc. You're lighting the Shabbat candles. Now, in the nighttime, you can, of course, eat chametz. I'm sorry. Again, we're talking about Shabbat candles, not, I'm sorry, Asher Kiddushan Mitzvah Tov, V'tzivan Ladlik Ner Shel Shabbos. I'm sorry, I confused. Please excuse me. We're now on Shabbat. When Shabbat comes in, you have to light, first of all, one light before Shabbat that's going to stay lit more than 24 hours. Then you light the lights of Shabbat. You eat your evening meal. The problem is the daytime meal. The daytime meal, you have to finish eating chametz by 10:42. And you have to destroy your chametz before 11:30. How do you destroy it? One way is flushing it down the toilet. Another way, you can pour like economica, what's it called? I don't know what they have, what it's called, but some sort of a caustic substance on the chametz so that it won't be edible. And then you have to do before 11:30. And that's when you say also this kol chamira. Now, we talked about this before, making the Seder Pesach. Here is the Seder Pesach. Here it is. We have the egg is on the left side. This is like three pillars. There, right, left, and center. Right is the side of kindness. This is the it's called the zeroah, even though we use a chicken neck because of God's outstretched arm. And here we have what's called the charoset. The charoset is made from ground up apples and pears and nuts. And you put a little bit of wine in there right before. The egg is on the left side. That represents the how the Jews mourned, and also you eat it is going to be the first thing you're going to eat in the order of the Seder, and we're going to go through the Seder quickly. And then we have the karpas, which is the reason that this is here. This is only in order for the children to ask, because it has no real purpose, even though it stands for the letters. There are samach perach, 10,000 Jews, just the males from 20 and up, worked in perach. Perach means hard labor. Then in the middle we have the moror, which the moror we use lettuce, and we put also horseradish. That's our custom. You can, if you can't eat horseradish, you can eat just lettuce. Or if you like to burn yourself, you can eat just horseradish. But really the best bitter herbs is the lettuce. Lettuce is the best because it starts off sweet when it's young, when it grows, and then gets bitter. That's what it was with the Jews. They were in Egypt. It started off sweet. Paro remembered the favors that Yosef did for them and that Yaakov did, and it was a sweet. But then afterwards, either Paro forgot or there was a new Paro, and they started to get bitter and more bitter. And this will be eaten as what's called moror. It's a special commandment from the rabbis, which we're going to eat this right after we eat the matzah. And then, right after we eat the moror, then we take this same, which is the same thing. This is called the chazeres, and we put this inside of matzah. We put matzah around it, break the matzah and put it inside. We'll talk about this in a minute. And we eat this. And this is called we say this is what Hillel used to do in the temple. Hillel said that more has to be eaten with matzah together. With the matzah together. So we're going to go through the whole order of what we do. We do not eat this chicken neck called a zoroa. We do not eat it. Just leave it on the table. And this, we try to make it less than a kazayat so that we don't have to make an after blessing out of it. So let's go through it quickly. Let's see if we can go through the night of the Seder. And here Chabad has a really nice one. You can look at it yourself and you can go through it to see what exactly has to be done if you want to go a little slower. So first of all, here he says, very good. You have to print or study the Haggadah. You're supposed to look this over before. We're doing just a short overview of what has to be done. 1 minute. What's this? I see. Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, here's the Seder Pate. This we just went over it. Yes. Good. We have matzah. The matzah is called the food of faith. Let's see what he has to say here. Matzah is called the food of faith. It's also called the food of healing. It says in Israel, we only eat one night. There's only one Seder night. Outside of Israel, there's 2 Seder nights. It says in the first Seder night is the food of faith, and the second is the food of healing, physical healing. Put one on top of the other one. Put the one on top of our custom is to put a napkin between each one, and then also a napkin or even a plastic bag over this, or some people even have some sort of a plate that they put over. On this plate, they put all of the damp things, so it doesn't make the matzah damp. We are very careful not to make the matzah damp on Passover. There's some people in Chabad that in the meal, when the meal comes, that they eat only matzah, and then they remove everything from the table. They eat only matzah, and then they remove all the matzah. You sometimes even have a special like plastic tablecloth, and then they eat their meal. So we try to make sure that no liquid ever touches matzah. You don't even have it at the same time on the table. But when you're making the Seder Pesach, you can't avoid having them all on the table at the same time. They're going to be on the table for a long time. Okay, so we have 3 matzahs. The middle matzah is going to be broken. We're going to see this right in the middle. The middle matzah is going to be broken. We talked about this yesterday, and that's where the afikoman is going to come from. That's right in the beginning of the meal. And then we're going to say the whole Haggadah. And then we're going to drink the second cup of wine. And we're going to make 2 blessings. Al achilas matzah. We're going to, first of all, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. That's going to be all the bread together. And then al achilas matzah, we're going to drop the bottom part. And eat the whole top matzah, or at least the chazayas of the top matzah, and the middle matzah, which is broken, which we broke. So let's go through it. Ready? Let's go. Yes. Okay. Here he has the whole order of the night. Let's go back. No, here. Here's the Seder of the night. Let's go through it. The Haggadah quickly. We say these first things in the beginning when we first start off. Kadesh Ruchatz Karpas Yachatz Magid Matzah Magid Rachza Motzi Matzah Mor Korach Shulchan Aruch. Some sing it. Kadesh Ruchatz Karpas Yachatz Magid Rachza Motzi Matzah Mor Korach Shulchan Aruch Tzvon Berach Halel Nirtzah. What are they? The first thing, you make kiddush. You take a cup in your hand, the man, and he makes a kiddush, makes 2 blessings. The blessing over kiddush and shechianu. Then after that, everybody goes and washes their hands. For what? As though you were eating bread, but you don't eat bread and you don't make a blessing. You wash your hands and then you come back, sit back down, and you take the karpas. You take the vegetable. Whereas the karpas, here we have your finished Seder plate. Here we go. You take this, you dip it in salt water. You should have salt water. Dip it in the salt water and eat. You don't lean over. Don't lean over. Why do you do this? So the children will ask, why are you doing this, Daddy? And you'll say, because we do a lot of unusual things tonight. This is a very special night. And that God took the Jews out of Egypt, and we're Jews. And God's going to take us out of this exile with big miracles. And that's why, and you have to ask questions. The children have to be involved and inquisitive. Then after that, after we eat this piece of, some people have parsley, use parsley, some people use a potato. We in Chabad use a piece of onion. Yachatz, afterward, this is what I told you about. You break the middle matzah and you save it. That's going to be your afikomen. Then here also you pour the second cup and you say the whole Passover Seder, the whole entire story, which we're going to go over a little bit, what it is. It starts off with the children asking 4 questions. Why is this night different from any other night? And why is it that we lean over tonight? You never usually lean. And why do we eat bitter herbs? And why do we eat only matzah? And then we start to tell the whole story about we used to be slaves in Egypt and we worked there very hard. And they bring sentences from the Torah and they explain these 10 sentences, 4 or 5 sentences. And we used to be slaves and God set us out and there were all these plagues and we're going to see what they are. After we finish that, then we drink the second cup. Here we're going to drink 4 cups of wine. Every time you drink wine, you must lean over to your left. Every time you eat matzah, including the sandwich that you make with the bitter herbs, you lean over to your left and eat. When you eat matzah, every time you do eat matzah, you must try to finish before, there's different times, but before 4 minutes, let's say. We'll see what he says here. So try to finish eating within 4 minutes. And we'll go into the details. So what have we done so far? We made Kiddush, we drank the first cup. We washed our hands as though for bread, but then we sat back down and we made a blessing on the karpas, Brei Pri Adama, and we ate it. We broke the middle matzah. We poured the second cup and we told the whole Haggadah. This is the whole Haggadah of Passover. This is the main thing of the evening. We tell the whole Haggadah of Passover. It's a mitzvah. It's a commandment from the Torah, but we don't make a blessing on it. We talked about that. Why? Just like you don't make a blessing on blessing after eating. That's also a commandment. You tell the whole Passover story, how we were slaves, how God let us out, how there were amazing miracles. We sing, we're happy. Then we drink the second cup. Here's where we drink the second cup. Finish on the Haggadah. Okay, now you wash your hands for bread. You sit down, you take all 3 matzahs. You have 1 matzah, a whole matzah on top, a whole matzah on the bottom, and the middle matzah has been broken. By the way, if when you break it, it's you're supposed to take the bigger piece of the 2 and use that for the afikomen. But the smaller piece of it is not the size of a kazayat, which a kazayat is, let's say like 2 pieces of bread or something. Then you have to add on matzah to it. Okay, now you take all 3 matzot and you just finish washing your hands. You take all 3 matzot and you make a blessing. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Then you drop the bottom matzah and you make the blessing al achilat matzah. Because some people say you have to make the blessing on matzah on a broken one. Because it's supposed to be lechem oni, poor bread. And you eat the whole thing. Try to eat it. Let's see if he says over here. Well, it is matzah. It doesn't say how much time. It says you break the kazayas of al. You have to. Okay, you're supposed to eat these 2 pieces together, leaning over, and it's supposed to be within 4 minutes if you can. You'll look and you'll see. I'll ask your rabbi. He'll give you time. Some people say up to 9 minutes. Some people say it's supposed to be 3 minutes. I've heard 4 minutes. Let's see, maybe I have over here a book where he might say, 1 second, he might have his details. This is a wonderful man that he just passed away. His name is Rabbi Shmuel Bucket. Here it says, just 1 second. There we are. Here, obviously, you must have some time. Here he says that the matzah, you can break it up and don't dip it into anything. You have to eat them both together. Does he have a time? Some people used to eat, you can eat it both with the two hands. He says 4 minutes. That's what he says, 4 minutes, like what I said. 4 minutes, but try not to make it more than 6 minutes. So you'll have to chew it up. The matzah. Very difficult. If you really have real wine, so you can take like little sips of wine or something in the middle, but it's better not to. Because if it just doesn't go down, okay. Then you break off of the matzah, you eat them too. Okay. Back. Okay, then you eat the morer, the bitter herbs. You also take from this also the same amount. Every time it says to eat, eating should be done within 4 minutes. If it's a commandment, within 4 minutes. Bitter herbs. Then you eat the bitter herbs that we talked about before that was in this picture here. We had this picture of this bitter herbs here. You eat the whole thing together within 4 minutes. It's good to make it bitter. You know, you put a little mortar over there. You're supposed to feel the bitterness that the Jewish people felt when they were in Egypt. And then afterwards, you make a korach. What's korach? You take this piece of moror, same thing, lettuce and horseradish, and you put the bottom matzah around it. Let's have a look back here. You break the bottom matzah here. Where it is? Here. You take the bottom matzah and also this chazeret. This is called the chazeret here. Just called the chazeret, but really it's the same exact thing. You dip it a little bit into the charoset. You dip it into the charoset. And I forgot to tell you, when you eat the moror also, you dip it a little bit into the charoset. That's the custom to do. And then you say, this is what Hillel did in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. You would put them together, and then you eat them together also and lean over and try to do within 40 minutes. Now, eat and drink. You can also drink as much wine as you want to. Finally, you have safon. What's safon? Safon means the afikomen that was hidden. Now, some people have the custom to some people have the custom that they take all the afikomens from everybody that was around and give them all to the person who is leading the Seder night. Even though in Chabad we have a custom that every male has his own plate in front of him. Even the children, they have their own plate in front of them. So they have the whole thing. Some people have that the man of the house, he has this plate in front of him, and then he gives out to everybody, which is a nice thing. But in Chabad, we don't have that custom. Everybody has his own. In any case, so it comes out that everybody makes their own afikomen anyway, because they're all breaking their own, and they give it all to the house owner. In Chabad, we do not have the custom of hiding the afikomen and the children coming and stealing it. Because there's enough, urges to steal and sit as it is without urging and reminding the kids that it's once in a while it's okay to steal. Well, because we don't do it. Then after that, they eat the afikomen. Also eating the afikomen is also done leaning over. So that's safon we had. So here we have, this is the tzafon. Tzafon means what is hidden. The afikomen was hidden. like I said, we have the custom of everybody giving it to the leader of the, so he passes it out to everybody. And you lean over, eat the afikoman. After you eat the afikoman, you should not eat anything. Last thing, you should not eat anything. And we're going to see, we're going to have 2 more cups of wine you have to drink. 2 more cups of wine. So here we have the first cup of wine comes Kaddish. The second cup of wine comes after you finish saying the Haggadah. Magid. That's where the second cup of wine comes. After you finish this. This is before you wash your hands. Right? After you drink the second cup of wine, you wash your hands. You make 2 blessings on the matzah, motzi matzah. You lean over and eat it. Then you eat the mora without leaning over. Then you eat the korach, this Hillel sandwich, where you put the bitter herbs in between the matzah, the third matzah, the bottom matzah. You break it and put there. And then when you finish the whole meal, you make shulchan aruch. You eat. And after that, here's where you pour the cup of Elijah the prophet. And you also take your third cup, right? I'm sorry, shulchan aruch. After here, I'm sorry. After you eat the afikoman, my thing went up. Afikoman, that's the last thing you eat. That's the piece that you broke in the beginning of the meal. You eat that. The owner of the house gives it out. You make the blessings of blessings, and you drink your third cup. You've already poured the cup of Elijah the prophet. You drink your third cup. Then you say Hallel, a big long Hallel. And after that, you drink the fourth cup, and that's the end of the night of the Seder. And then you dance and you're happy, you can sing songs, but you do not, and then the custom is to pour the wine, the cup of Eliyahu, to pour the wine back, and they sing Eid Keliato when they're pouring it back. So that is, in a nutshell, the order of the Seder of Passover. So there's a couple of ideas that can be used for the night. First of all, the 4 cups are 4 languages of redemption, correspond to 4 levels of happiness and joy that we have to have. The 3 matzahs are 3 aspects of faith, chachma, bin, and dat. And like we said before, that this corresponds to the whole thing corresponds to the 10 sfirot, the 3 matzahs which are underneath. That's chachma, bin, and das. And this is chesed, gevura, tiferet, netzach, hod, and yesod. And the 3 matzahs underneath also represent, or the plate itself represent malchut, God's kingship. God's kingship. So tonight, it's a Pesach, is also the word Pesach, the mouth speaks. We're supposed to speak about the greatness of going out of Egypt. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about anything except for God's miracles and positive things on this night. Very important. Also very important that the children should be interested. So you try to make the whole Seder night as early as possible, as early as you possibly can. It's a good idea to dance in the middle of Seder night. Also, part of the Haggadah of Passover, we go and open up the door for Elijah the prophet. You take a candle, you open up the door for Elijah the prophet. It says, when you open up the door for Elijah the prophet, God opens up all the doors for us. So it's a perfect time to request whatever you want to. And what we should really request is the whole purpose of the Seder Pesach, as we want Mashiach now. So that's today's class. Tomorrow, God willing, we will go back to learning the Chumash, the portion of the Chumash of this week's Parshas Tzav. Interestingly enough, in Parshas Tzav, there are 18 commandments, and we're going to go through them, what they are, a little bit of the Chumash with Rashi, also the idea of the constant fire that should be burning all the time. We'll talk about that, God willing, tomorrow. Thank you very much. God bless you, and have a good day with Mashiach now.